And now I'd like to welcome George Anastasopoulos back into our studio for some more timeless tips. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me back.
Now, we have been talking about priorities. Do you want to recap priority categories for us?
Absolutely. So we started off talking about the fact that there's really three priority categories in our lives. There is family, there is work, and then there's me. There may be a fourth, like, volunteer time and so on and so forth, but for the most part, all of us have those three that are part of our makeup.
So how do we get started with creating our priorities?
Absolutely. So we get started by thinking of Socrates. Okay, that's a weird thing to say. But Socrates, Greek philosopher 2,300 years ago, said, amongst his various famous quotes, "A life unexamined isn't worth living." Yeah. And so it starts by looking in the mirror. And we look in the mirror and we have to ask ourselves, what's the most important thing in my life right now? And when I say right now, I don't mean right now, this moment, but right now in terms of this stage of my life. If you're a young person, for example, getting your first job, you're single, well, probably work is going to be a very, very important priority because it's early in your career. Let's say you're starting a young family, then all of a sudden that's going to take over in terms of being really, really priority. Other things are going to shift a little bit. A little later in life, you get the point.
Mm-hmm. So once we've looked in the mirror and established where we are right now, what do we do with that?
So I suggested last time around that we look at it as a one-year time horizon. That allows us to at least have some perspective and some context around it. And we need to understand the fact that as we allocate our time over the course of that year, that 5,800 hours we've got available to us once we take sleep out of the equation,
right.
That we think we're prioritizing, when in fact, priorities take on a different dimension if we think about them as Lego pieces that pull together like pieces that in fact interact. And so rather than think about it strictly as this priority trumps this priority trumps this priority, if we look at it from the standpoint of Lego pieces or slices of a pie that fit together nicely, we can look at life in terms of how the various pieces work together in terms of bringing us fulfillment and satisfaction.
Great. So what are some practical tips?
So it starts off this way. First of all, forget the word balance, because we all think about it's just a wrong metaphor, because we don't really accomplish balance. What we do have, though, is a dynamic relationship. The second thing is, let's make work part of family and family part of work. In other words, bring your personal life in terms of your hopes, your fears, the things that are happening with your family to your conversations in the workplace. It builds more dynamic relationships. You have more of a personal bonding with those folks and a lot more fun working with them. Same thing the other way around. If you're able to bring your successes and victories and challenges home, then it provides for vibrant conversations about the other parts of our lives. Thirdly, accept that it's okay to say no. It's counterculture, 21st century. We're not supposed to deny ourselves anything. No, it doesn't work. It's okay to say no. And then lastly, practice saying no. Jeff Bezos, who's CEO of Amazon, one of the largest companies on the planet, very rich, he once in an interview said, you know what, I get 100 requests a day from people who need stuff, money, resources, and so forth. He says, I say no 98 times.
Wow.
Enough said.
That's right. Well, we're going to put up those tips. Those are great. Thank you for that. For more information, you can go to leadershipfundamentals.com. Thanks so much for being here.
Glad to be here.